This is
Yeah.
a collection of stories.
Landover Legend Studios presents.
I've been through a lot.
The I Can't Make This Up podcast.
Yeah,
By Big T.
Saying not that I'm saying that's what we talk
Right,
about,
right.
but
They want that grit.
yeah. So that's what you can find that out by actually listening to the show. So dialing it back sometimes it saves you from hitting a low or possibly I don't want to say bore your guests, but they feel like you just talking just to be talking. You know what I'm saying? And I never
Right,
talk
fill
just
it
to
for the
talk.
pie.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to cover a bunch of airtime or nothing like that. Like the purpose of my show is to have a conversation that people can adhere to. So if that conversation lasts an hour, that's great. If it's more than an hour, then it's best to break that up. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right, and I definitely agree with that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say people attention spans, unless it's something that they're really into or they diehard fans of it, then you're not gonna get that, especially when you're trying to get new listeners. You know what I'm saying? Like one of my favorite podcasts to this day is All Deaf Digital Squadcast. You know, and I,
Okay.
and I don't know if
Yeah.
you're familiar with that or not, but it's basically um, five people doing the verses, and they'll pick a subject like who's better, Drake or Will Smith, and they argue about it. But since they're a bunch of comedians and friends and assholes at the same time, it makes the discussion go left in so many different ways that you sit there and just wait for the distraction, and then for them to remember that they actually talking about these two people. And then it's sometimes you get a lot of information or insights about a subject that has nothing to do with the topic at hand that you be like, damn, I didn't know that. Then you will research something or you end up becoming a fan of something because, that's how it is when people, big up the next person, you know? So that's one of the things that I gravitate and I loved about that show. And it kind of gave me an extra push to actually start my podcast because this is something I wanted to do years ago, but didn't have the time or I kept putting it off. But then last year created the opportunity, and it's been 13 months, and I'm still going strong.
Okay. Now, what you did right there, and I like that, and it's something that usually happens inside my episodes of Podcast Collide. You just set up a gym for a fledgling podcaster. Now, let me ask you this one because I'm gonna give you like four more questions if you don't care, real quick. Um, what would be the beginning advice that you would give to a podcaster that's just starting out? And the reason I ask you this is this real simple, and I'm just going to give you time to think about it, but think about this too at the same time too. I always like to get a different perspective. That's why I do Podcast Collide because everybody has a different story on that. Some dude was like, "Man, you just got to get on the mic and just talk," and I'm thinking to myself, "This dude's empty. He'll be done in 6 months." But other people give very insightful things, and even if it ain't insightful, just something like how would you tell someone to start? Because you know what it's like to start at the beginning. You know what it's like to get listeners, lose listeners, bring listeners, whatever. What would you tell them?
I would tell somebody if they wanted to start a podcast and that was something that they genuinely wanted to do, and it's not just a hobby or a thought, to come up with a game plan of what your show is going to be. Make sure you got the right equipment. You want to give people at least halfway decent sound starting out if you can't afford, you know, uh, semi top of the line equipment, and just put something out there. Don't second guess. Don't try to, talk yourself out of it. Don't, expect someone's opinion to be gospel when it comes to actually trying that. Just do it, and then do another one and then do another one. And if you feel as though that you losing the drive or you losing the passion outside of what people are saying about your show or outside of people not listening, then it's not for you. But if you feel comfortable doing it and you don't care what people think, and you at least have one person that's actually, got your back and keep going because you never know what's going to come of it. Now, it might not be a career choice that you're doing, but you never know what opportunities might come from it. So just do something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying get on the microphone and talk. I'm saying, pick a topic, pick a subject, structure it real, produce it correctly, put it out there, and follow through with everything you're going to do. Don't just say, okay, I got to do this, or don't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. That's like saying, I'm planning my life out. I'm going to get married at 18, have kids by 22, and have a house at 23. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? That's nothing you can't structure your whole life. You can set uh, mile markers, but plans change, ideas change, situations change, and the world of podcasting changed. You know what I'm saying? So get out there, just try it and see what happens.
I greatly appreciate that because, like, one thing that and this leads into the next question. One thing that I would do different that I didn't do before, I made my podcast before I even promoted it on Instagram. Right? I
Hmm.
wish I had it took like 3 weeks, put the thing out there, got some people hype about it, had done some vigilante or whatever it's called, did the little visuals and extra stuff to build it up, like hyped it up. I went in. I'm gonna tell you, I went hardcore. I did 5 episodes up front. I didn't put them all out at one time because people tell you put 5 episodes out. No, I'm not gonna do that. People won't leave after the third episode.
Yeah.
Um, I put one out and did the normal week routine between it. Um, but what would be one thing that you would do different that you didn't do this time? If you could go back, just one thing that you could fix, because we never regret anything, but it's just something that you would have tweaked different or done different.
I wouldn't have skipped on the equipment I was using initially.
What was you using initially?
I was using, what was it, Audio Box 96, to
Okay.
record my audio, and um I didn't spend much money on it. I got the mics from like Amazon or whatever, and I was just recording. I wasn't thinking about like soundproofing or nothing like that. And that, what I'm saying, that got me a lot of feedback, but all about my sound quality. Other than that, the content was good. So initially starting out, like my sound quality is trash, and then I was just like, I gotta do something about that. So that's when I started reaching out to editors to do that. But I also got tired of every time I needed something put out, I gotta record the episode, I gotta send it to the editor, I gotta wait for it to come back, then I gotta chop it up and then put it out there. So that's what I'm saying, that's me spending money on something that I'm not getting money from yet. So I had to think, what I'm saying? What's the best way to do this? Like you were saying earlier, that's a feasible. It's not costing me money every week to make my show happen. So I started researching. I started looking at what other podcasters was using. I was hitting up audio engineers. Hey, I'm trying to do this. What could I use that's cost efficient but studio quality? You know what I'm saying? I did the research. So that way I switched up. I wasn't just using my computer microphone. I got an actual mic. I got headsets to prevent from echo. I got better camera that I'm using outside of my laptop camera. All these things made a difference, you know? So actually doing that research is something that I would have, I mean, not that I didn't do research before, but put in more effort in the beginning. And I would have started a lot earlier when I first had the idea. Cause, I kick myself in the butt now because I'm like, damn, if I only started this when I first had the idea, how much further along I would be. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. Now let's do this real quick. Let's dive into this because you're talking about equipment, and I'll be 100% honest with you. This is my story, right? Obviously, for my job, I got to carry a decent computer, whatever.
Hmm.
Never thought anything about audio stuff. The first thing that I went to was we got these like bargain bin places where you can get stuff off the pallets and stuff. All the Amazon returns. So I went and bought the little USB mics. They were 5 fin or something like that. That's the name of the company, and no plug to them.
Mhm.
but they were just USB mics. And I plugged them into the dongle, didn't have no place for headphones or anything like that. I had to tweak each one of them by using voice memo on my computer. Had everybody holler and talk, right? So we can
Mhm.
see where it sounds right, what we got to box in, where we got to put egg crates, what we got to do. That's how I started out. But I bought them three, I don't know, four mics for $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And like you said, I definitely agree on that. And then with me, the way I run my podcast, I always make sure I told everybody that it was going to have an amateurish style. There ain't going to be no intro. The only intro you're going to hear is West Virginia commonplace or something like that. Or if you hear
Yeah.
a sound effect, it's because a cup of coffee fell on me. But that's just my form because I wanted to build something that I knew would be easy for me to maintain. Now, with the sound and all, I agree with you on that. Now, let me ask you this. So you moved over mics. Did you start out with USB and go to XLR, or are you still using USB and or dipping and dabbing?
Initially, I started with USB, but then I moved over to XLR, and the XLR mics were good, but come to find out that the the um the unit I was
Audio
using
interface?
yeah, the interface was defective. So I didn't realize
Oh,
that until months after. So I can have, four channels going at once, but for some reason, and I always tell people after that to, what I'm saying, check their equipment and don't just trust that they're good because you got them brand new from wherever you bought them from. They were all recording on the same line basically. So I had
oh,
four different mics set up, and live you can hear them separately, but what I'm saying, when you go to create that wave file, they're all coming through at the same on the same channel. So once I realized that, I got away from that interface. I bought a brand new one, and then I switched up, and then I got better cables, better mics, that all came with tested equipment and everything, so that way I didn't have to worry about that issue you know
oh yeah, and I greatly appreciate that because I'll be 100% honest with you. The only thing that slowed me down in the game was I was using these cheap microphones. I mean, I even went to the little store called Gabe's, and I bought a microphone that went through my headphone jack, right?
hmm
But it had the pop and everything on it, so I was sounding good with that. I wasn't even worried about the sound, and I have not moved over to XLR yet because I've traveled a lot, and I don't want to carry everything on me, to get robbed. Because
Yeah.
I could drop my bag down. So the only difference I did was I went and bought that Yeti. I caught the Yeti on sale,
hmm
and I will just say this, like you said about microphones, and no disrespect to XLR or USB. Whenever you are buying them, you do gotta buy a certain level of quality because this mic, like, it takes out the sound. Like I'm in a hotel room, there's people yelling, and there was somebody yelling at a kid. You didn't even hear it.
Yeah.
Turned down that gain, got it all out the way. So I will say, buying a quality mic on either end, it is a difference. Using this compared to them, the little cheap Samson and all that other stuff, yeah, it's a difference. And what you using, I'm looking at it now, I'm a little envious. I'm like, might have to find a studio on the low, come record like 5 episodes so I can give me some better quality sound. Now, let me ask you this: do you do like a true sound test on your episodes? Do you like play it like? Because I'm like I'm religious about this. Like I'll go in and I'll play it on a shower speaker, the Bluetooth speaker, on the Xbox or the PlayStation through the TV. I'll
Yeah.
go in the car, play it Bluetooth, and I'll play it inline old school with the AUX. I do all that to hear the different sounds, and then I'll put them in regular headphones, and then obviously I got the funky iPhone headphones, and then another like wireless earbuds. I listen to my show in different things to hear my pitch or like my voice, like because if you get too close to the mic, it's like that, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, just to listen to see how I sound. And then I go back and I even look at the video to be like, man, was I loving on the mic or something? Was I moving right? Why was I doing all this extraness around the mic? Have you had to go do all that yet, or like self test everything to see if you just get that right sound?
Uh, to be honest with you, before I even, I let anybody into the room, I'm checking my sound. You know what I'm saying? So I have it set up to now that I adjusted it according to my guests opposed to me because I got everything set up right. Like, only time I move this is when, I'm off camera. Other than that,
Right.
it's exactly where I needed to be, and that came from trial and error. And when it comes to, me finishing up the show and me setting it up, I do two tests actually. I play it from my phone, and then I play it from my speaker, my you know what I'm saying, my Bluetooth speaker. So another thing that people don't think about is when it comes to analytics, is depending on the site that you distribute it from, it'll show you what type of device that your podcast is being played on. So it'll say phone, it'll say tablet, it'll say computer, and then depending on what country it's in, that about half of the people gonna be listening on their computer. So like you said, you're gonna play it
Right,
through a computer speaker and see what it sounds like, opposed to in the headphones. Other than that, 9 times out of 10, people are listening to it on their phone, and you know what it
right.
sounds like when saying you got headphones on. So for it to be at a normal talking level like right now, it's gonna make a difference when someone puts on Beats headphones, or iPad, I said iPad, iPhone headphones. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that your actual recording sound or your recording level is at a normal rate, I guess you could say, or a normal talking volume, because that's what's going to make the difference. You know what I'm saying? Because when
Oh
you in the
yeah, not
car, and depending on if you got the device hooked up Bluetooth or to an aux cord, it's going to make a difference in sound and the feedback. So if you're coming in low, they have to turn their volume all the way up. So all that has to be considered. So it doesn't have to be super high, but it has to be like phone conversation level. You feel me?
yeah. I feel you on that. And another one I left off, and you got me thinking now because I got the tablet right over here on the little extra thing. I'm just showing you for argument's sake. I got it on the little stand right there.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to listen to the episodes on the tablet because of you, man. I mean, I play them through the headphones, but now I'm gonna have to actually listen through the speakers on that now. Another thing I forgot about is the USB sound because a lot of people got cars that do that little sync hookup.
Hmm.
Whenever I play anybody's podcast, I don't care who it is. For some reason, when you do it through the USB, that shit sounds low as hell. I don't know
I,
why.
I,
It just
I,
does.
I never actually tried hooking up the USB to stream or anything or listen to anything. It's either Bluetooth or aux. And the problem with aux is, depending on the device, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be like a Android tablet or an Android phone, or like a actual iPod. And
Yeah.
it's not too many cars you're gonna get in like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's always gonna be a difference in the sound. And I'm not really sure about the USB thing. Like, I've had one in cars for years, and I've just used it to charge devices. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I feel you on that. But yeah, that's the extra sound I do because I'm usually navigating or doing something crazy like that. So um I just hook the phone to the USB because I ain't doing all the extra Bluetooth because sometimes it don't pair. I just plug it in and just plug and play rolls, and
Yeah.
and that's usually how I listen to the podcast and stuff like that. Now, getting over to more podcast centric questions that I'm gonna ask you real fast, and then I gotta get the floor back to you on this one. Is this what was the first mistake you made in podcasting? Because
Um.
with me, I'll tell you the first mistake I made was thinking that everybody was a friend and not associates. I got together with a group of people, and I didn't realize that I had a little knowledge or I was savvy in certain ways that they like. They took that advantage and that information just ran with it. Not being naive or anything. I just thought these was people I talked to in DMs, and they had my regular phone number. We talked every day. Next thing you know, they took the little information I gave them and ran with it.
Yeah, that's that's common in an uncommon place, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
uh I think that trying to uh trying to collab with people without really getting the feel for them will probably be one of the best. I won't say best. One of the mistakes I made, because people show you red flags, and because what I'm saying, you I don't say you feel a certain way about them, but you try not to judge people on like little small stuff that might bother you, or small stuff that might throw you off, because you know that they got good character. But sometimes you gotta, like my girl Kendra says from Coffee with Kendra, what I'm saying, you
Oh yeah,
got
Kendra.
yeah, you got to peep them red flags. You know what I'm saying, regardless to what's the aspect of your relationships. So going through that, I ended up wasting a lot of time trying to work with people, and I've realized that that wasn't my lane for right now. So I can collab with people. You know what I'm saying? Not that it happens often, but as far as what I'm trying to do with my platform, I know that since it's just me doing everything, then I'm just gonna have to maintain that until I build that bond or build that family to make that happen. If it goes that way. So yeah, that will probably be the mistake I made.
Yeah, and I tell you one thing that I made a mistake on, but I live by it even to this day. I, and this is kind of wrong about me, but I do say this: I am highly selective on who I bring on Podcast Collide. But there's another thing that I do that I think is wrong, and I wish I could fix it, but I can't fix it now because I'm known for this. I am highly selective on whose shows I go on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I learned early on in the game, you can't just jump on everybody's piece and do something. I gotta research you. I gotta listen to you, and I gotta actually like what you're doing. Because it came to me. I did a show with this guy, and I did it just to be nice. I did the show on a Thursday night, like at 8 o'clock. He had that show out at 12 o'clock at night. Now we both know he didn't edit that show. And people came back to me. They was like, "Is this what you doing now? You doing this trash ass show?" And I'm like, "Nah." I was like, "This dude he said he puts it to wax and he'll edit it in the next 3 hours and then he's gonna put it out." So I trusted him. So then I got like this. I got kind of exclusive. I was like, "Yo, I will invite everybody over to my show, not in a rude way, and it hasn't taken away from anybody from anything that they do, but I'm very selective. I'll do 6 appearances in a year, like podcasting, like we're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and we at number 4 right now. And then outside of that, like what I did last year, I did 6 shows. Well, no, I did 4 of them. Then I was done. You can go to my platform all day long. If you want the episode, I'll give it back to you too, and you can use it. I won't even use it. But I learned in my realm that I got to be very careful and, like you said, in who I associate with and who I deal with. And that even goes back as far as like even with the shout out sometimes. I gotta be careful who I shout out because then, you know, people will start getting a certain way about
Envious.
things. And I tell it, yeah, and I did today. I put an announcement out there. I was showing people this app that doesn't track everything. You just let it get in one time, and it shows you who unfollowed you without being all the extra and paying for it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I went in, and I seen cats that I really do a show with, like I do shows and did advertisements with. These people unfollowed me, and I wasn't paying attention. And I was in me. I do everything with automation. I got the Facebook Business Suite,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm never on Instagram or Facebook. All my posts, they're lined up for the next 35 days. And with that being said, if we got beef or something where you unfollow me, you're gonna get free publicity off me if I don't check. So I put that out there to the world. I was like, people need to know this because you get out here and you're doing business with people like you said, and sometimes things go sour. Like with guests, for instance, like with me, I'm like Tupac. I record this whole week. You're the last show that I've done. Like if we had recorded this for me, this would have been my 20th show that I did from Sunday to this Sunday
Hmm.
for my season 7 that don't come out till January.
Yeah.
So my next question to you is this: like, if you got the podcast going, you got the merch going, you got everything solidified, you got the Linktree and everything going. What is the next thing for you outside of this? Because everybody's got their podcasting dreams and aspirations, and we living those right now, right? But my dream is like, for instance, with the Sometime Cinema, I want to be able to do that in every city. I want to be able to kind of land over Baltimore, wherever, have a spot to just set up, do it, meet some fans, make some fans, and just roll out with another local podcaster. We do it as a joint venture, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next? Your next endeavor?
My next endeavor is to actually put out a series that I'm working on. I'm trying to put together a 10-part series
Ooh,
about it's almost like I guess you could say almost like a true Hollywood story, something like that.
okay. Well,
And
remember this. Remember this real quick. Hold on. And this is the magic part about what I do in a business. From what you told me there, you already got fired. Let me ask you one more question. This is where the 2020 question comes in. So in this series that you're doing and you're developing right now, right?
mhm.
What has been the roadblock? What has stopped you from getting it out as fast as you can? What has slowed you down with this?
Well, I'm writing it by myself, but it's also finding the right people to put in the project, finding the right team to actually make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So if you want good quality work and not just something from like an iPhone or an iPad, you got to have the right equipment and the right people behind it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to producing everything. So taking my time with that, since I'm funding everything and having to find the right the studio or the right area to record and do my scenes and everything. All that takes time. It's nothing I could jump out and do that. I don't have whole overhead at the moment. It would be great if I did, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna rush it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I need to hurry up and make this happen before football season, or I need to hurry up happen before. You know what I'm saying. So anytime you try to rush to do anything in life, you always end up skipping a step or missing something. So measure twice, cut once, right?
Right, that's how we do.
Yeah. So
All
with
right.
that, I'm actually going to change up my YouTube channel because I'm going to be working on a different show. To actually incorporate like anime fans like myself, and people who
Ooh.
enjoy conversation about old school cartoons and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah, let me come back on for one of those. Are you like old anime like Ninja Scroll, like Macross? That old?
yeah, that Yu Hakusho, Akira, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Regular
But
Lotus 4 or whatever?
yeah, so trying to incorporate that and separate that from I can't make this up. You know what I'm saying? So trying to bridge the gap between fans who listen to just my stories and fans who listen to just my interviews, and fans who like certain topics but doesn't like the full conversation. So that way I'm kind of making it real rounded. My eventual goal is to actually build a sound stage to where I can do my show, give other creators a chance to come and create content myself, and get to a point to where I got a thriving business within the business. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, giving other people opportunities to do the same thing that they didn't have before, because you don't have stuff like this in this area. Like, you can create it, but a lot of people don't like to show up to anything until the work is done. So with that being said, I
Right.
gotta, you know what I'm saying, I gotta put it out there and it has to be done. And instead of you trying to jump on at the last minute, no, you don't do that. If you wanted to partner, then we can make this happen faster. But since you don't, now I gotta charge you. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm thinking longevity when it comes to that. So, Land Over Legend Studios coming soon.
All right, I appreciate that, and I thank you for letting me take over your show real quick with that quick podcast collide inside of an episode. Because like I said, I like to do that sometimes. I usually like to ask a few questions just so I can work on my chops and make sure I still got it. You
Oh
know.
yeah, no
But
doubt.
anyway,
No doubt,
but
man.
anyway, the floor is back to you now. I thank you for that little insight because the thing is, and we'll have to do a podcast collide episode one day, whenever you got some free time. The cool thing is like that little extra insight that you put out there, you probably wouldn't have put out in this episode or the next episode, right?
No, not necessarily.
Right, right. So you just did yourself a justice right there, didn't you?
Most definitely, but it also depends on the topic at hand, because you listened to my show before. We could be talking about someone's book, and then depending on the next question or depending on where the conversation goes, it can get into that. Because it's not rare, but it happens quite often where people flip the script and want to know a little bit more about how I do my thing, or what inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Because me myself, I don't like just talking. That's why I couldn't do a show by myself of me just talking about a subject. I kind of feel like that's, for me, it's like derivative, and I feel like I'm just talking for no reason. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody, we exchanging ideas, we exchanging informations, we what I'm saying, we creating a dialogue, or you know what I'm saying, something that that's going to be useful and at the same time, I guess enjoyable for the two people involved. You know what I'm saying, or whoever. You know.
Yeah, just like so that it's not aimless list.
Yeah.
Um, because that happens sometimes. You know, some people would like do the solo ones. Like I do. Like I got a series called the Love Series inside my podcast, and it's an intimate story. Tells you about what happened with me. Um, you know, the different things inside love. But I make them real short and concise because I'm like, I only want to hear me talk for 12 minutes or 15 minutes. I don't want to go on by myself for 2 hours. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I became a talk.
I listened to a couple of them, so I already know exactly what you're talking about. You know.
Right. They just short. They just to a point. And like when I did one about a mental health checkup, it was just like, why is everybody always doing checkups and not doing maintenance? You can do checkups all day on your car, but if you actually don't do the maintenance, like you can put oil in your car, but if you don't do the oil change, rotate the tires, and do that every single time, your car gonna break down one day.
Yeah.
You know, change out, fix that water pump, like, and you can just like with your mind. That's one thing there that just gets me. Like people would just do this quick checkup. Oh, I'm all right here. I'm all right here, but I ain't fixing what's making this not all right. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. Um,
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's just that's just basic me.
Yeah. Hey, look, no doubt, man. You know, when you was talking earlier, you made me think about something. The last time I went to West Virginia, I took a chick to
Okay.
Charlestown one time, right?
To the
And
casino,
yeah,
big
and
baller.
I had been going out there, I guess, like every other weekend that particular summer. And she was like, "Man, I'm trying to go. I've never been to a casino." And I'm like, "All right, let me know when you're trying to go. You know what I'm saying? I'll pick you up and we'll drive out there." And now for us, um, that's like a 2 hour drive,
Yeah,
maybe a
because you
little
cut over
over
by
two
Frederick.
hours. Yeah.
Cut-
S- So she was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go." She was like, she made all the money she wanted to. I think she was doing hair at the time or something. I don't remember exactly. And I was like, "All right, let's go to the casino." We pull up there, we get to the garage. Before we go in the door, I'm like, "Look, put whatever money aside that you don't feel comfortable spending, and then have your money that you willing to gamble." And I told her, I said, "This is just something I learned on my first time actually gambling. Period. Once you lose half of your money and you just losing it, I suggest you stop, because you know what I'm saying, you're gonna end up losing all your money." She was like, "All right, I'm good." So I said, "Cool." I go in, I show her around, take her to the blackjack tables, roulette, and all that. I was explaining to her how craps work, because it's not like it's on the street. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different game.
right.
So I'm like, I'm about to go over here and hit these slots. So I'm sitting down there having a drink, hitting the slots. I spent about 40. I made like 180, something like that. Once I lost 40, I said, "All right, cool. Cash out. Take my card." And it had been about an hour, maybe an hour and a half since I seen her. And I seen her like out the corner of my eye bouncing from like table to table trying stuff out. So I go over,
Oh,
she's playing blackjack, right? But she got this look on her face like she's stressed out. And I'm like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "How much you up? How much you down?" She was like, "Man, I'm down." I'm like, "How much you got left?" And she had just bet her last $20. And I was like, "That's your last 20?" She was like, "Yeah." Bow. I think she hit for like 23 or something like that. So I was like, "Damn, that's crazy. How much you got left?" She was like, "That was all of it." I was like, "All of your money?" She was like,
huh?
"Yeah." I said, "So all of your gambling money?" She was like, "Nah, every dollar I made today." I said, "Are you serious?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Why would you play all the money if you was losing? Like that don't make sense." So she pissed off at this point. She like, "Give me $200." I'm like, "Give you $200 so you can lose my money?" No. Like I told you, like, you know what I'm saying? I told you before we stepped through the doors. I'm like, put the money into the side that you don't feel comfortable spending. Don't spend all your money, because it ain't gonna be like, "Oh, the house feel bad for you. Take this back, or take back half." No, what you lose is what you lose. Because they gotta do the same thing when they lose. So I'm like, "Well, you want to get something to eat?" She's like, "No, I want to leave." I'm like, "All right." So I go in the line.
It's
I'm
a
about
long
to
ride home.
yeah. So I go in the line to cash out my ticket. Right. I cashed out my ticket. I gave her the money. I was like, here, just take it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like $140. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't wasn't nothing else I could do. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt bad that you lost all your money, but it wasn't my fault. So she's blaming me. We get in the car and I'm like, let's go get something to eat. She's like, nah, take me home. I'm like, all right. Whatever.
Dang,
We get on the road, we coming back down home, and like in the first 30 minutes, she was blaming me that I was the reason she lost her money because I brought her there. I said, what you say? She's like, yeah, if you had never brought me here, I wouldn't have lost my money. I said, okay. So I cut the radio on, I lit my J and I kept driving. You know what I'm saying? I get to her house, I pull up, I unlock the door, I ain't say a word. She was like, you not coming in? I said, you think I'm going to your house right now? No. No, I'm not going to your house right now. So you
right?
could
Because you didn't want a domestic or nothing.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So you could bust me over my head with a frying pan or something in the middle of the night. Nah, I'm good. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, I just learned that, I can't be I can't just be taking, people to places they not ready for. And at the
Right,
same time, it made me want to learn more about that person instead of just being fascinated with what we had chemistry wise. You know what I'm saying? So,
right,
because you never know what people temperament when it comes to loss or being upset or being pushed to the edge. You know what I'm saying? Some people can handle it, some people go overboard. So that showed me that, hey, you don't like any type of loss when it comes to finances. I'm not going to put you in a situation where I'm involved with you losing money. Outside of me, you can't get mad at me. You feel me?
right. That's crazy. All the way out there. That was a long ride back because that's 68, 70 back up around. I'm just thinking about that ride because I left Baltimore last Monday and I made that ride back home. And funny thing about your story is there's two casinos. There's a bunch of casinos in West Virginia for some reason. I don't know why. There's that one in Charlestown. There's one in a place called Wheeling.
Hmm.
Then there's another one out where over on my end of West Virginia, like closer to Ohio, called Charleston. Charleston got the dogs out there, so a lot of people travel in for them dogs because it ain't that much dog racing going on everywhere.
Yeah.
And the worst heartbreak you see is these cats will go in there and start playing. They start losing their money, and at first they had a hotel at the Mardi Gras Casino because that's what it's called. And then next thing you know, they end up having to stay at the Red Roof Inn at the end of the night because they didn't ran all their money and tricked up their hotel room.
Yeah.
So that is crazy though that you got a story like that going all the way. And Charlestown's deep though. It ain't like you just can get there like boom, boom, boom.
No, not at all. So, and okay, nah, I definitely was using a smartphone because that was around I want to say it was like close to like Google Map era. So I was like using like a Verizon Droid or something like that at the time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it was close enough to the era to where if you didn't have a smartphone, you would have messed around and got lost. So
Yeah, you
thank
would end up
goodness
like
for
Morgantown or
GPS.
something.
Yeah, I wasn't getting lost, not and no offense to West Virginia, nothing, but yeah, they look at you different out there.
Yeah, and you can get lost out here. Like I'll be telling people, nobody really believes this. I'm saying it's 100% on the record. It's not about any place being racist out there. It's that these people that live in these places live on dirt roads and live on different type of roads. Like they don't
Hmm.
have main roads like this. So when they go out to Walmart, they might only go to Walmart once a week. So these
Yeah,
people, I call them clans people, not clansmen like Ku Klux Klan, but like clansmen because it's families that live in hollers, which is like a road that goes in one way and
yeah,
out the same way. They all live together, so all they know is each other. So when they see somebody of color or anything else that don't belong out there, in their opinion, nah, that's not where you want to be. Now, if you stay on the three interstates that run through there, which are 77, 64, and 79, you good to go. Go to Charleston, you have a good time. Huntington, whatever, Parkersburg, wherever. Shout out definitely to Parkersburg and Charleston. But anyway, you good out there. But it's like if you get off the main road and you go to get gas, you better make sure it's not too dark because the hills have eyes out there. And I ain't look, I'll be honest with you, I ain't even really believe it because I'm originally from Virginia. I'm from the middle of Virginia, a little place called Lynchburg. So
yeah,
I'm from a country area, but if you go on 29 and go up to DC or past Culpeper and all that stuff, I can be in DC in like 2.5, 3 hours. I can be in North Carolina in 2, West Virginia in 3. So I was always on the little central hub and be in Richmond in like an hour and 45 minutes. So I grew up learning about these different places. But man, once I went to West Virginia, it was something about it though. Like, cheap place to live, but you can make money outside of the state, obviously, because I travel everywhere. But you
Yeah.
can live comfortable, and the mountains kind of shield you from people. Even though we ain't got good cell phone service or internet service, still a good spot if you ever get a chance to just want to go on vacation and want to see rocks.
That wouldn't be in my top 25 places to vacation, but I
I
wouldn't
mean,
mind.
me neither.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't mind going there for a day or whatever to check out the scenery or like for an event or something like that. But
Or let me give you one that's better, Justice. You wouldn't mind going through it so you can get to Columbus or Cleveland or go to Pittsburgh that way instead of
there
having
you
to
go.
go pay tolls.
Actually,
That's all.
I think what did I go through? I think I drove through some part of West Virginia to get to Pennsylvania or something
Yeah,
years
you hit the
ago.
little corner right there. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was different out there too. I tell you what, when I was going to see my buddy down in Knoxville, um, I stopped somewhere in Memphis, and I went to the Shell, got what I'm saying, I filled up, and I went across the street to this restaurant to use the bathroom. And I went in this restaurant, and people were still smoking indoors. This is how long ago it was. I want to say it was like
Damn.
maybe 11 years ago, something like that.
Okay.
And like in the movies when someone walks through the door and the record skips, like the record
Yeah.
didn't skip, but everyone stopped and turned and looked at me, and I was like, "You guys got a bathroom?" And lady looked at her coworker, then looked back at me and was like, "For who?" It's like, "Y'all have a nice day," and I walked out there.
Hey,
I,
look.
I knew what it was, and I just was like, let me get down the road and get to a restaurant, and like a chain or something that has a little bit more friendly atmosphere, and maybe I won't feel the same way. But it was like a diner, like a little Pops diner or whatever, and I just was like,
Yeah.
no, no, gotta remember this place, and
And you say that that's kind of crazy though, because like I said, in West Virginia, like nothing like this ever happened to me. Like I can go anywhere.
mhm,
It's a pretense that they teach you leaving Virginia to come over. They be like at nighttime, if you're not on that main highway, or if you're not in the big populous areas like the capital of like Charleston or
mhm,
Huntington. Like if I'm up in that area where Charlestown's at, we call that the holler. Because when you get over there, it's only a few roads, but that little corner of West Virginia, because West Virginia looks like this part over here.
yeah,
Because West Virginia does look like that. So this
yeah,
part over here that touches Maryland and Virginia and Pennsylvania and all that.
yeah,
When you over in that area, if you ain't out of there by nighttime, you done for. Because nobody lives over there but them people that know each other.
yeah,
So that's one thing I watch out there. Only other thing that's really weird about West Virginia is like we call it Mountain Dew shit. People be on some real Mountain Dew, like remember the old extreme commercials where they catch the Mountain Dew on the rocks and shit.
yeah,
People really come from Canada and stuff to rock climb in West Virginia. You'll see these $2-3 million mansions that I don't know what goes on in Canada, so it's none of my business, but these people come down from Canada in the summertime and will stay until fall up in these nice mansions on a mountain and be out there rock climbing and sliding down in the cave holes and all this craziness. And I'm like, to each his own, but not me.
Hey, when you got people that do crazy shit like go in submarines and try to like find the Titanic and all this crazy stuff. And don't get me wrong, as far as exploration purposes, that's fine. But when you do it on a Saturday afternoon for $300 or whatever, or go inside a shark cage for the thrill or just to see what it's like, that's what they make 4K video for. Like, you know what I'm saying? But to each his own. Like, I think that bungee jumping is the stupidest thing in the world, right? And
Right.
and that's just me. But I want to skydive. So
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like it's to some people there's no difference, but for me, I would rather jump out of a plane than trust my life on a bungee cord, which sounds real hypocritical and stupid, but I think because I enjoy skydiving the act more than I would bouncing on the tether. You know what I'm saying? And then like I've actually seen bungee like in like real life bungee cords snap and stuff. So you know what I'm
Oh.
saying? So because I haven't experienced anything bad with skydiving yet, I trust it more.
Well, that's like these people that come to West Virginia. We have this thing called National Bridge Day, right? These
Yeah.
cats jump off a bridge. They jump off a bridge into the water with a parachute. We got people in wheelchairs jumping off. I'm like, a wheelchair jumping off. And this is like a big thing. I'm talking about like people from all over the world just come to jump off the bridge into some shallow water that, could make or break your legs. And I'm just like, teachers, I'm like, it's just something about some of that stuff that I'm just like, nah. And then you got the people that rock climb out there, knowing some of them rocks is slick because we got ice at different times of year, but some people just come in the fall time or like almost winter time when it's getting ice on it and they'll climb rocks. Like, what sense does that make? Right?
Yeah, I mean that like I said earlier, to each his own. I don't climb mountains and stuff to test my athleticism or the thrill of, scaling the mountain free-handed, because a lot of people do it free-handed.
Free and
You know
yes.
what I'm saying? Like I would hate to get slapped by a person that climbed the Everest with no help. You know what I'm saying? Like those got to be some of the roughest fucking hands that you ever seen in your life. But
Right.
you know, um, it's 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 crazy. But I look at it like this, right? If I'm 80 years old and I feel as though I lived a fulfilled life and I accomplished everything that I want to, that I'm to a point to, and not that I'm saying that 80 is like the new, the new age that everyone's gonna start passing at, but like if I feel as though I have no regrets, then I would probably jump off that bridge. I would go to bridge day. You know what I'm saying? It's like those people that wait till they like 70 and they start doing coke and shit. They don't give a fuck. They live their life. You know.
Yeah, they ready to get a new experience before
You
they
know.
go.
Exactly. So have at it. It's those people that find out that they're terminal and they cash out on their insurance policy. And they live their life to the fullest. Because they don't want to sit in the hospital bed and go through chemo and all that other stuff. And I encourage that, not to the point that they killing themselves early, but to actually enjoy their life. You know what I'm saying? Or
Oh
what's
yeah,
left
much
of it.
respect on that.
Yeah.
Much respect on that one.
But
But yeah, like
when you 23 and you getting drunk and you riding on top of a car going down the highway blindfolded, then I feel as though you're wasting your young life and you could have done a lot more.
yeah, way more with it. Like I'll give you an example. When I was coming up here, I came through the Baltimore way, like Baltimore, Delaware, come up to New Jersey. I seen something that excited me. It was an indoor skydiving park with
Oh,
with the air under them.
Sky Zone.
Yeah, it was somewhere like Maryland, Delaware line. I was like, man, I really want to try that
Yeah.
before I jump out of a plane. I was like, I want to do that and see if I'm going, you know, cancel out doing that or if I can really, jump out of an airplane. So I said, when I go back through, I might stop by and try it out.
Yeah,
That was one thing I
it's dope. You gotta book it in advance, and at least last time I went, you had to schedule a time because they don't want everyone there at the same time. And if you miss your appointment, you can either like they'll let you go at another time slot during that day, or you got to reschedule it like the next available day. But like if you're 5 minutes late, then you miss your appointment.
ooh,
Yeah. So
ooh.
I remember one time I drove down to, I think it was Sterling or Leesburg from here to go to this place. It was closer than the one I think that was up north, and we had missed the appointment by like 3 minutes. And we was like walking through the door, like we literally hit traffic at the exit right by where the place was. And the lady called me as I'm walking through the door, was like, "Hey man, I just want to let you know you missed your appointment, and what day did you want to reschedule?" I'm like, "Reschedule? I'm here. I'm not. I'm not rescheduling." She's like, "Well, the next one's at 7 o'clock. We had a 1 o'clock appointment."
What?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you go on that 7 o'clock one, or did you get one like at 2 or
No,
something?
I ended up selling the appointment to somebody else that could, use it another day. Because I actually had things scheduled that day. We
Yeah,
was gonna be in there for a couple of hours, go get something to eat, and then go do whatever. But I wasn't waiting 6 hours to do that or
skydive.
come back all the way back down here on another day. Man, fuck that. Nah, I'm good.
But yeah, I seen it and I did get excited. I was like, I'm gonna do that. I said, hopefully, if I can get my hands on a GoPro or something before I go, if I don't do it this time, I'll be back over in this area again at some point.
Oh,
I'll definitely try.
there's video and pictures you can buy. They actually put
Oh,
that in the package too. So
oh
they'll
snap!
give you like from like a downward angle of you like floating above the fan and everything in the suit,
Yeah, hit
or
that
like
little extra flip.
yeah. So hey man, hey, do it. It's technically safer than jumping out of a plane unless something crazy happens, but it's a 50% chance that better than trusting a parachute. And when you jump out of plane before you have the experience, you got to remember you got to be strapped to somebody. So it's not always going to be a lady. You know what I'm saying? So you got to you
Right.
got to be comfortable with the tethering situation.
Yeah. So definitely on that one. But yeah,
Yeah,
I could
but
see that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, man, I actually got a meeting coming up shortly, JR. So, man, I appreciate you coming on today and, dropping that information. I think that a lot of people will find it useful. And, man, let me know about the podcast collab, man, because, I got no problem coming on. I don't get too many invitations. So it'd be nice to, what I'm saying, work with somebody else on their platform.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We'll definitely get that arranged. I got a few little things going on, and at some point next time I'm in your area though, because I do, like I said, my aunt's over in someplace, Suitland somewhere now, near
Okay.
Suitland High School. Uh, we'll have to catch up in real life too. But I want to thank you so much for having me on your platform. Like everything you got going on, and everybody remember, listen to West Virginia Uncommonplace when you get a chance, and we'll keep moving from there. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. You want to let them know everywhere they can reach you?
Oh yeah, you can just reach me at West Virginia Commonplace on Instagram. If you try to find me anywhere else, if you just put in West Virginia Uncommonplace or WV Uncommonplace on Google, you will find everything, the storefront and everything else like that. I ain't gonna plug every single thing. Just remember, sometimes cinema pops up in your city. We send everything across the Wire app, and it is the Wire app, not the TV show. That's how you can get a hold of me on there.
All right, thanks, JR. I appreciate you coming on for another installment of the I Can't Make This Up podcast. That's I Can't with a K Make This Up podcast. You can find me everywhere podcasts are available. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And please don't forget to hit that like button, share it, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this show, and whether it's good or bad, I'm going to read it. And if it's bad, I'll block you. So, you know how that is. But I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate all support. Until next time, peace.
I can't make this up. Being the wingman got me punched in the face by this crazy chick. I can't make this up. Gave this cool old man a ride home. Now I'm harboring the fugitive. I can't make this up. Pinned between the fat chick and the speaker. Now my shirt smell like her backside. I can't make this up. It's all bad cause my man about to get stabbed in his hand over french fries. Bet.
I'ma let T tell you that story one day, man. It's a good one.
And I'ma let the Landover legend do the rest. I'm out.